Mm-hmm.
But here it is, we got a power couple who happens to be Black, and your company is up and rising. It won't be long before everybody is trying to book contracts with your company. So shine some light on that for us.
And
The
also,
diversity.
and I'm sorry, I don't want to, I guess, ask in regards to the show, is that something that you highlight or discuss in the show, or are the other couples minorities as well?
That's an excellent question. Actually, all of the couples are minorities. Matter of fact, in the dream, there was actually one Caucasian couple, and as we discussed it, the importance of just keeping it all, minority couples, simply because you're absolutely right. In this particular industry, matter of fact, when some people saw the sizzle, they said, "Oh, I didn't realize that minority couples had companies and doing big things." But
Mm.
it was even a surprise or a shock to network executives,
Mm.
us operating, first of all, having our own companies, having our own successful companies.
Production company.
Exactly, having our production company as well. And then one of the couples, he's a former professional athlete, Hall of Famer, and he actually has the top Black construction firm in all of Florida.
Mm.
A rarity, and usually to go into the soil of it, absolutely right. That's going to be one of the things that we're going to address in the show, because we want to talk about the disparity and how over the course in time the narrative is changing in construction. Just like it was a male dominated industry and probably still is, but now women are emerging in the construction industry. Here it is now, couples are actually running their firms, like Dwayne and I, and all of the other couples. We own our own firms, we run it together. And then, of course, the next generation, even our children are in the business. And, we'll be showing all of those different facets. And these are couples that we collaborate with, and these are couples that we compete against also.
And that's interesting.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that in the sizzle. I can't wait to see this show, man. And I believe God that it's gonna be a long running series and multiple episodes, man.
Absolutely. And just to kind of, if you will, to seal the thought earlier in regards to diversity, it's just like anything else. When we're looking at, it could be any industry, you want to see people that you can relate to,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes looks like you.
Mm-hmm.
That's also true for construction. We
Mhm.
want it to be multifaceted, where you have Caucasian, where you have Spanish, where you have Asian, where you have Haitian, where you have, Black American and Black Caribbean. We want to be represented in every industry. We
Mhm.
build just as well, just as good, equally. I don't want to say necessarily better than, because
You
then
better say it. You better say it.
I wouldn't say better.
Yeah, man. It's okay, man. You can speak your heart, man. You
but
speak your heart.
the basis of it is that a lot of times we're not given the opportunities.
True, true.
That's why we're almost like a hidden gem, the perfect secret, because we're not, but the more and more we're given those opportunities, is the more and more we're, if you will, proving ourselves in the
I
industry.
love it. Now, when you mention the other couples that sometimes you're competing against them and working with them, like how does that work? Like how do you maintain like relationship with people that you may have to compete against? Because
It's funny because we've maintained these relationships over the years. I think probably the youngest couple in terms of business years is 6 years, which is the electrical contractor. And, out of all of the others, we've maintained, they've been in business just as long as we have, and we've kind of known them and known throughout. So, and there's always, being a minority, I will say this, at least here in Palm Beach County, there's always been some sort of a semblance of a camaraderie, if you will, between us, even though we have to compete against each other. It's nothing for me to not to be able to pick up the phone and call one of them about something. If I need to know something that I may not know, or need to know, hey, what do you have experience in this area, or do you this particular subcontractor, what is his work ethic like? What is his work like? And it's always a free flowing of information. This is one of those industries that, there's enough out here for everybody. So I don't necessarily feel this is a situation that, we feel like one is going to take something from somebody else. At least I don't feel like that, because I've been a strong proponent always, and I always tell people this all the time, what God got for me, he has for me. What he has for you, and there's nothing I'm gonna do to mess up what you got, nothing you can do to take from me with what I have. And that's always been my mantra and my approach when it comes to other minorities in this particular industry. And that's why I said, man, I'm just blessed to have actually come into this industry, the way that I have. Like I told you, I didn't necessarily have any formal training in it, but God equipped me with everything I needed to have to succeed. And so, specific to the question again, the competing against one another, it's never been an issue, because a lot of times we compete. Just here last week, I happened to beat somebody else out last week. We're still talking this week, so it's just kind of one of those things. And there's a mutual respect, and then too, there's a boundary that we also don't cross. Like, we don't ask industry specific questions like that would compromise how a person does his business or this, that, and the other. So we know enough to kind of stay across from that line with one another, and so, which really makes for a healthy environment for all of us. So it hasn't been anything too hard. I haven't run into any companies out here minority wise within the county that, we just said, hey, we don't want to do business with you or anything like that, or we can't talk to you like that. None of that. Those that are here, and a lot of people think a lot of times this industry is really huge, when in reality it's really very small.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of the same people that we deal with are a lot of the same people that the big boys deal with. So, there's always talk, back and forth amongst the other, about sharing, at least, and I don't know whether that's intentional or unintentional, but there's always that talk back and forth, about who performs well, who does this and who does that. And so, and in a sense, if you have any sense of competitiveness about you, you always want to take the things that you don't do well and be able to improve on them and learn how to do better. And at least that's the approach that I try to take.